Rich, any further reflections on that opening day win over Halifax?
Yeah, really pleased with the performance. Looking back on it, we was very direct, very physical, which we spoke about being. I think this time of the year, you need to be, high percentage in your completions, which I think we was in 90, 92, 93% coming out of yardage, which is outstanding, and it gives you an opportunity to build some pressure on teams and goes a long way to go get the win.
To do that after such a shortened pre-season, everybody needing to adjust to that, how pleasing were that?
I think the intensity that we showed for the full 80 minutes, I think teams are going to look at us. We're a big outfit, but we was relentless in what we did. Our line spin was good. I think the only two times that we allowed quick rucks, we conceded, which again is something we can have a real good look at and tidy up moving forward.
Easy to pick up on that then, in those. This is what happens when you just slightly drop off a little bit.
Yeah, look, people again not sticking to system. Them rucks where that third man hasn't got in there and just lent his weight, so we can just slow it down a little bit just to give our defence that opportunity to get back and get set and organised. So yeah, look, it's always going to be around your first 3-4 rounds where you're going to be making adjustments and reaffirming what you've spoke about system wise.
And that's certainly going to be the case this time around in terms of that shortened pre-season as well. And as we spoke before, not having that time to work on that side of things.
Yeah, like I said, I mentioned it before. We decided to run them and go for the fitness and robust side of the pre-season. So we knew that we'd be a little bit rusty in what we're doing with the ball, and I could maybe pick out that we didn't really go and engage their defenders, but we completed high. We was very physical, and it helped us get that result.
Did it show that performance that the value in having that friendly against Bradford that week before?
Yeah, hugely. I think I spoke to their players after, and they said that first 15 minutes was a baptism of back in rugby league, and sort of we had that last week. So again, we blew off the cobwebs a week earlier and managed to start really strong, and I thought we did. I thought we was very dominant in our performance.
Well, obviously speaking to you quite early on in weeks, but any injury concerns after that first game?
Obviously, we've got Sam with a head injury. Jones, Jacob Jones, we're going to have to again assess tonight. See how he is and if he's available for weekend. But like I say, apart from them two, I think there's just sore bodies. But we've got players waiting to come in them positions. So yeah, we're not overly concerned at this moment in time.
We talked a lot about having a bigger squad this season, but probably it doesn't hammer it home quite as how big it is until you see the sort of squad list and the players for each game and see the players that aren't involved. But that obviously is going to stand you in good stead.
Yeah, look, we've got players that aren't playing that could be in most championship teams, and that's the benefit of having that squad. And the reason we've done it is already round 2 and we've lost 2 bodies. Round 1, sorry, and we've lost 2 bodies, and hopefully it doesn't continue. But there is that concern that it could, and we've got quality players waiting in the wings to step in.
You obviously brought quite a few players in during the off season. How pleased were you with how they settled in and performed in that opening game?
Yeah, I thought they was all fantastic. I thought they all contributed the way that we wanted them to. They'll only get better, some of them as the ground dries up and the conditions get a little bit better. But overall, I thought it was a solid performance by all the new lads.
A break from league action already. The Challenge Cup this weekend against Newcastle. What are you expecting from this game?
Yeah, look, looking at Newcastle again, they've got York lads in there from last season. Quality team, quality outfit. So yeah, they're a different team to what they were last year, and we're gonna have to be again at our best. We'll prepare that way. We're now building. It's all about you've got round 1 out the way, right, lads? This is the improvements we want to see. These are the improvements offensively. These are the improvements defensively. Let's go out and do it. Because if we do that on the back of that last week's performance, we should hopefully get the job done.
Are you expecting these to be ones to watch this year in Championship?
Certainly, with the York lads coming in, and I believe that most of them are full time, so they're going to be fit, they're going to be strong, they're going to be very quick in and around them rucks. So we're going to have to be good in them areas.